You know what I am. I'm the same as you.
Okay, then what are you here for? What are you protecting? Or is it something you're hunting? Something that got away?
Something you let out.
Get behind me!
Wait, that's a
Hellhound.
We're looking at the historic origins of the Teen Wolf Hellhound, its role in the cosmic supernatural order, and the various powers and weakness conveyed by the ancient spirit within. I want to establish right away that the insights we are unpacking today come specifically from some detailed notes provided by Paul from Teen Wolf News.
He really did the heavy lifting here.
He did. He traced the lineage of this creature back to its roots.
And the foundational lore we are analyzing alongside that history comes directly from official canon and the official Teen Wolf Wiki.
Yeah, and according to Paul, you really have to strip away your assumptions about what this creature actually is.
Operating entirely outside human morality or concepts of good and evil, the Hellhound acts strictly to enforce balance, guard supernatural secrets, and manage aspects of the afterlife. It's a job these dog spirits have been doing forever.
This part is for you, Lydia. You're the one who can reach him.
Jordan?
No.
Who am I talking to?
Cerberus. Garmr. Black Shuck. I've had many names.
To truly understand why a supernatural sheriff's deputy is walking around a small California town with fire in his veins, you and I actually need to travel back thousands of years.
Okay, where are we going?
We need to stand at the very first human gravesite.
Prehistoric burials contain dog remains alongside human ones.
Humanity has always instinctively linked canines with the boundary between the living and the dead.
So when written religions finally do emerge independently across the globe, we see this remarkably persistent image. The earliest clear example comes from ancient Egypt. By the 3rd millennium BCE, Anubis, the dog-headed god, protected the deceased, weighed the heart, and guided spirits through the transition to death.
Right, he was the classic guide.
And another Egyptian dog god, Wepwawet, was the opener of the ways, opening the portal to the afterlife.
A similar image appears in Vedic India. Yama, Lord of the Dead, possesses 2 supernatural dogs who watch the road traveled by the deceased. In the Rig Veda, the dead must pass these 4-eyed guardians on their journey to join the ancestors. Ancient Iranian and Zoroastrian tradition gives the dog a comparable position. Dogs were brought before corpses in the funerary ritual called Sagdid, the dog's gaze.
Yeah, it's the gaze.
The dog could see and protect the spirit from hostile supernatural forces, banishing the corpse demon Nasudruj.
Exactly. Because it can perceive things humans simply cannot. Its gaze alone pierces the darkness of decay that demons thrive on.
So once again, the dog stands in that dangerous boundary between death and whatever lies beyond it.
Exactly. They're the original threshold watchers.
Then in ancient Greece, we get one of the best known of the death dogs, Cerberus.
Oh yeah, the classic.
His role is a bit different from the others. He's not so much a spirit guide as he is a guard dog.
Right, he's staying put.
Once a spirit enters the underworld, Cerberus makes sure they can't leave. This is where we get the closest analog to what the Teen Wolf Hellhound is doing, guarding the supernatural. The spirit in Parrish actually mentions Cerberus as one of its past identities. And then in season 6, Halwyn shows up hunting down a spirit that escaped the underworld, or in this case, the Wild Hunt.
What are you protecting? Or is it something you're hunting? Something that got away?
Something you let out. You can't kill it.
But you did.
I trapped it.
It is that same ancient instinct, just enforcing a new set of rules in Beacon Hills.
What's wild about all these death dogs is that they don't just show up in civilizations that are relatively close together.
Right, it's definitely not just a Mediterranean or Middle Eastern phenomenon.
A world away from Egypt and Greece in Mesoamerica, Xolotl was helping souls cross the river to Mictlan. It's the same role Anubis and Wepwawet were doing centuries earlier on the other side of the globe.
Across an entire ocean, yeah.
Think about that. 7,000 miles, almost 4,000 years between Egypt and the Aztec.
It is just a staggering distance.
Yeah, and there's zero cultural crossover even possible between those two.
None at all.
What were the other names the Parrish spirit mentioned?
He talked about a few past identities across the centuries.
Garmr and Black Shuck.
Yes, exactly, those two.
Right, Garmr is from the Norse myths, and Black Shuck is medieval England.
It is all the same entity.
It's like there's this cosmic force of guarding spirits, and every civilization around the world perceives that force with a familiar furry face.
You have to wonder about the psychology of early humanity here. I mean, why choose a dog to guard the most terrifying boundary we ever face?
Well, I think it comes down to the fundamental relationship between early humans and canines, right? Dogs were the first animals we brought into our camps.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, they guarded our sleeping bodies in life. They possessed senses we totally lacked, hearing and smelling things in the dark forest long before a human could even perceive them.
Right.
So it makes deep psychological sense that early humans would want that exact same protective loyalty when facing the ultimate unseen unknown of death.
When Teen Wolf set out to adapt all those thousands of years of global folklore, they squeezed that entire ancient legacy into a growling, glowing, mostly shirtless, small-town hunk.
Yeah, it is quite a striking contrast to a three-headed dog, isn't it?
Just a little bit.
Of devilish riders in the sky accompanied by black dogs, spectral beasts whose eyes glowed with fire. A bearer of death and guardian of the supernatural, the black dog is also known by its more common name, the Hellhound.
So that brings up an important question. We've been detailing all these various guardian spirit dogs all over the world, from ancient Egypt to Mesoamerica to Norway. But so far, none of the dogs we've looked at are actually on fire.
Right, not a single ember anywhere.
No.
The dog itself didn't change initially. Humanity actually changed what was behind the dog.
So when exactly did these spirits start burning?
Well, Paul highlights how early Jewish concepts of Gehenna, which was originally a literal physical valley where fires burned constantly to consume waste, slowly merged with early Christian concepts of a punitive afterlife.
Oh, I see. So suddenly the underworld wasn't just cold and shadowy anymore.
Exactly. It became a place of fiery punishment. And it happened gradually through medieval fear-mongering and translations. Medieval Christians looked at figures like Cerberus and renamed him the Old English Hellhound.
Ah, because the realm behind the dog caught fire in the human imagination.
Right.
Humanity literally changed the guardian's nature.
Yeah, it is a complete shift in the mythology. We saw the same shift in perception with the Wild Hunt. The Ghost Rider changes depending on the culture.
Well, that's a great comparison.
Like here in America, the riders look like cowboys, but in Hawaii, they appear as native warriors. We've gone through the history and explained how the cosmic guard dog caught fire.
But you know who doesn't know any of this stuff about death dogs and cosmic forces? Jordan Parrish.
Yeah, totally in the dark.
For almost 2 whole seasons.
You gonna do a magic trick?
No, but you are. It's a little dangerous, but it's not as bad as being lit on fire in Deputy Sheriff's car.
Hey, wait! No, wait!
Which, by the way, you walked away from unscathed.
Not entirely. I had to pay for the uniform.
Give me your hand.
It's Lydia that helps him work it out.
Right.
I'm walking in the woods carrying a body, but it's completely burned. I can't see who it is or who it was.
Where are you taking it?
It's just a stump.
It's a real tree. It's called a Nemeton, a sacred meeting place for Celtic druids. That's why you're here. It's a beacon for supernatural creatures.
Lydia helped definitely, but a lot of people forget it was the Argents who brought the memories back.
Right. They had to push Parrish's physical body to trigger the immortal entity's survival instincts.
Yeah, it was Gerard and Chris, with the help of a blowtorch.
Werewolf?
No. It's called a hellhound.
What else do you remember from Afghanistan?
You said you came to Beacon Hills because you felt drawn here. You hid the bodies of the chimeras.
Got a resistance to fire.
We were wondering just how flame retardant are you, Deputy?
What the hell are you doing?
The question now is, how and why did the spirit come to Beacon Hills?
Well, to answer that, we really have to look at what the Hellhound actually is in official canon. And this is a wholly unique creature for this show's universe because Hellhounds are not biological monsters. Unlike the werewolves or Wendigo, Hellhounds are immortal, eternal spirits. They're only borrowing a human body.
Right, because the spirit itself has no physical form of its own in our world.
What happened to Parrish?
Jordan Parrish died. There is no Jordan Parrish.
How is Parrish dead?
He's a body, a means to an end. I am beyond life and death. I am infinite.
Apparently, sometimes the cosmic forces need actual boots on the ground.
They really do.
When did he die?
When I was born.
In this case, a massive supernatural battery was re-energized by those meddling kids.
The Nemeton.
Essentially, you, Allison, and Styles need to be surrogate sacrifices for your parents. The three of you will be dead for a few seconds, but you'll be giving power back to the Nemeton, a place that hasn't had power for a long time. This kind of power is like a magnet. It attracts the supernatural.
Initiating the need for a Hellhound to step in, investigate, and restore order.
And this brings us to a desert battlefield, far away from the forests of Beacon Hills. At the exact moment the Nemeton was re-energized, Deputy Jordan Parrish was serving in the military, and he was actively trying to defuse an explosive device. And he failed. The blast went off, and Parrish died instantly. But the Hellhound spirit, which was searching the globe for a suitable host, found Parrish at that exact moment of death.
And the immortal spirit claims his freshly dead body miraculously heals the catastrophic tissue damage and draws him all the way to Beacon Hills.
And Paul from Teen Wolf News emphasizes a fascinating angle here: the cold pragmatism of this choice.
Pragmatism, yeah.
The spirit did not choose Parrish out of pity or because he had a pure soul. It chose him because he offered the exact practical traits required for the mission. I have to stop here for just a second and point out just how young he looks there. That was his very first appearance in Season 3. He was just another hunky deputy. We had no idea what was coming. Anyway,
okay.
We were talking about why Parrish was chosen of all the potential vessels for the Hellhound at that moment.
He had the right resume.
Exactly. Parrish offered deep combat readiness from his military background. And more importantly, his job as a sheriff's deputy placed the spirit in a prime position of local authority.
He comes with a badge. He has unquestioned access to crime scenes, classified evidence, and the entire law enforcement structure of the county.
That's just smart.
It is such an organic fit for a creature whose entire purpose is hunting down anomalies.
It's to hide supernatural incidents from the human population.
Clark, you want to check and see if something's going on with the air conditioning down here? I'm pretty sure morgue is supposed to be a lot cooler than this.
Here we're getting into some of the powers and abilities that help the Hellhound do his job.
Watch out!
Parrish heated up the morgue sprinkler system to 300 degrees to create a distraction so he could remove a chimera body.
Which just shows incredible control. He uses that ancient mythological fire as a very practical, localized tool to manipulate his environment.
Right, but that display was only a fraction of the heat he could actually produce.
Oh, absolutely. He gets way hotter.
Later, we see him melt through steel doors. That had to be close to 3,000 degrees. That also brings up another ability the extreme heat offers. Eichenhaus doorways are built with mountain ash wood as a supernatural barrier.
Which, normally stops any supernatural creature completely in its tracks.
Right, but he gets around it.
Parrish? How's he gonna get through the mountain ash?
That does block the supernatural fire, but the air around the barrier still heats up enough to destroy the wood, allowing him to pass.
It is a brilliant natural workaround. Extreme heat is kind of its only trick, but it's a really good trick. Because he essentially becomes a walking inferno, physical combat with him is virtually impossible.
Yeah.
Take him.
The guy's on fire!
You'll heal, do it.
Kanima venom is no match for a living furnace.
Right, because the host's internal temperature just instantly incinerates the toxin.
Man, Theo just kept throwing his pack into the literal line of fire.
He really did.
Theo, this isn't working!
Yeah, fighting someone who is on fire is not a good idea, if you want to keep your skin.
This ultimate defense creates a tragic vulnerability.
You're thinking of Halwyn.
I definitely am.
We should take some time and look at Halwyn's story.
Let's do it. Because it's a lore-heavy tale that
Yeah.
was compressed into just a couple of episodes.
It was definitely squeezed in there.
While Parrish was brought to Beacon Hills by the powers that be, Halwyn had been stationed there for decades for a very specific reason.
Right. He was waiting.
Just in case the Anuk-Ite got loose. Halwyn had trapped it like 100 years before.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what we were saying about these hellhound spirits using these bodies without a care for the well-being of their human hosts. He just sat there, encased in basalt, just in case it ever escaped the wild hunt. So the fear spirit escapes, Halwyn is activated, and then gets shot in the head the very same day. According to Paul, the fact that the bullet shut down the hellhound spirit suggests the spirits are fully integrated into the host, using its brain to keep the body moving.
Right. The spirit becomes entirely dependent on the biological functions of its vessel.
Yeah, with the bullet still in there, the brain can't work. The hellhound is at the mercy of his meat suit.
He's not dead. Halwyn's not dead.
Of course, Lydia figured it out.
Naturally. She realizes the bullet is the problem, but removing it triggers a fatal biological chain reaction.
We'll increase the magnet's power, and the machine will pull the bullet right out.
The hellhound's greatest defense, that intense internal heat, turns into its ultimate weakness.
Where is it?
Instead of burning out the silver, the heat rapidly melts the silver bullet.
What did she do to me?
The molten silver spreads through their veins, poisoning the host.
I am so sorry. I'm sorry.
So they bring him back for like 5 minutes
Yeah.
before the one hellhound weakness kicks in.
It's incredibly tragic.
There is only the hunt. No one resists. No one escapes.
But there's actually one more weakness we didn't mention. The Teen Wolf Hellhound must answer to its ultimate master, the Riders of the Wild Hunt.
Right, those ghost riders.
Parrish, what's happening?
Don't follow me.
All in hunt.
And when the hunt was corrupted by that Nazi Löwenmensch, Parrish had to follow his orders too. There he is, opening the way to an afterlife, just like his Egyptian ancestors.
Whether our ancestors called it Black Shuck or Wepwawet or a Hellhound, they were all trying to name the same infinite storm. And by binding that massive cosmic force to a mortal deputy who was just trying to do his job in a small California town, the series transforms an ancient myth into a profoundly grounded story about struggling to keep the universe balanced.
It is a masterful adaptation of folklore.